Okay.
All right, you ready, Jim?
We are.
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order on the date of March 15th, 2023, the administrative review meeting. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 15th, 2023, and I've read those and they'll stand approved. We have one item on the agenda. It's consideration and action on a request for final approval of the Warren Estates Subdivision consisting of 3 lots. And Felix, you're going to be presenting this item?
Yes, and so this is a proposal for a 3-lot subdivision called the Warren Estates Subdivision, and it's in the western Weaver area. The grass is 550 north, 5500 west, and some of the background of this proposal was that back in November of 2021, this was granted a preliminary approval, and they also got approval for alternative access for 7-lot subdivision. And there's some things that they provided that are part of this subdivision proposal, including the will serve letters. So we've got culinary will serve from West Warren Water, and those letters are actually for a 7-lot sub, but being that this is now a 3-lot sub, that letter is still valid. And then we also have at this point we don't have septic feasibility from the health department. The owner has been working with the health department to get that. There's been some delay that's been caused by the health department, from what I understand, and he's still in the process of getting that septic feasibility. And Tammy went ahead and added that as a condition of approval, that first condition.
That. Yeah.
And then as far as it looks like there's also secondary water, and so we have Mountain View Irrigation that'll be providing the irrigation water for these 3 lots. And so with this new plan, we're still looking for final review comments from the county engineering department and the Weaver Fire District. I would imagine their comments would be very similar to what they've already posted, and maybe even less comments due to the number of lots that they're proposing. Tammy's put together a recommendation that staff recommends approval of the Warren Estates subdivision based on the conditions in the staff report, and she's also written in an added condition that and I'm not sure if this fully applies, because after some discussions with the owner, it turns out he's not looking to create a flagged lot. It's more of an access area for his farm implements, so he can avoid driving through Fenster farms. And so it looks like most of the residential traffic will likely travel through Fenster, and then access to lot 1 will be from the a public road called 5500 West. That's access to lot 1. And let's see here. But here, the conditions are pretty straightforward. Let's see, maybe what I'll do is we can walk through each of these conditions of approval to maybe add some clarity for the owner if need be. But yeah, that kind of concludes what I had to say about that one.
Okay. The only question I have on this is I'm trying to figure out fully the access exemption that was granted previously. I went and looked at that versus what is being shown here. And it's different
Yeah,
than
of course, yep.
what was approved. And in Tammy's condition number 5, it says the applicant shall agree to file the required alternative access covenants as outlined in the 1087-3 prior to recording the subdivision. And it's just not clear to me as I look at this, how that original access was shown, because when I looked at that, it showed it coming up here,
Exactly.
coming around like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the reason we applied for the exemption before is because the county didn't want to give us any of their ground here.
Okay,
So we couldn't split the road between mine and theirs.
okay,
And so therefore we didn't have enough width for a standard width road. So they give us an alternate access
okay.
for that reason.
So if with condition number 5 is the intent that, if the county ever decided to, we would have an access
And-
right of way option there?
And you currently have a right of way here. You actually have like 50 or 60 feet that goes down the side of this. This is that concrete
Okay,
spillway.
yes,
And so, and then back here, I had to give you, part of this is I'm giving you a piece of ground because you have to come out onto me to get up on there and
Oh.
service that.
okay,
So part of this is we're giving you
that,
what you need
okay,
and then, and then I did keep this because I also spoke with somebody at the county. They said there is potential that this could eventually be a road with a bridge. So if I have that piece, it's easier for me to give you what you need for a road at one point in time.
that makes sense.
So that was the other reason for keeping control of that piece of ground. The third reason was that gives me my 5 acres so I can stay in
Greenbelt,
Greenville.
okay. So your lots here, they'll be accessed off of this road
Yes.
right here, and that's your hammerhead?
Yes.
Okay,
So I believe when Sean and I stopped and talked to him, he said already with the alternate access, because that's what his suggestion was gonna be, is to obtain an alternate access. But he said
so,
I already had that, so I don't need to reapply for it. But the use has changed from the original design.
from the original design.
And
Okay.
originally, when we applied for that, we didn't even have a design together. They just said we were gonna have to have one based on what direction we were going there.
So when Tammy has this condition number 5, is it referencing just recording that, or is it recording the possibility to have that as a future right of way at a later date?
Just, as far as I understand, just the hammerhead.
Just a hammer.
That we would have to dedicate that. Because it's gonna be a public use spot, fire trucks and anybody else who wants to turn around there. And supposedly the only reason I need that is because this road here, once I add a little bit to it, it's now longer than what the code allows for the as part of the length.
Okay,
And that's why they were able to dead end that road without having a turnaround already.
okay,
Just because I guess it falls within the parameter that it's not long enough that fire trucks can back up 150 feet or something, or before they require an actual turnaround. I don't know the actual municipal code that you have there, but that's what I was told is that. And that's why they were requiring me to have a turnaround where there wasn't one prior.
okay. Well, that makes more sense that this is not a flag lot.
Yeah,
This is your access from here. And
so yeah, it gives me
that's
Way to get
not
a-
a stem.
a 30-foot wide swather down there, and then gives me my 5 acres, and then gives me control of
Okay,
that edge. If the county ever does decide to make that a permanent right-of-way road,
okay.
that gives me enough to,
Would you be willing to, at a future date, dedicate that as a future right of way if we needed that?
yeah.
I mean, if we purchased it from you?
Mhm. Yeah, that's, That was part of my reason, because I guess, the master plan shows that that could potentially eventually be a road
Yeah,
with a bridge to access that chunk of ground between 4,700 and the river.
because I'm kind of thinking that if we approve this, that we would just have the possibility of a future right of way
Yeah.
there if needed, but, just have your access from there.
Yeah, that's not a problem with me. I mean,
Okay.
that's down the road, so it
Yeah.
doesn't affect anything.
Okay.
One other thing to mention, Rick, that kind of, we touched on. So you've got that road, the 43, no, 5350. I'm just gonna bring it up here. I don't know how clear it is here, but,
That works.
so basically, how do you feel about getting a future
Connection down
future
there.
road easement? The easement just this way.
I mean, if that ever became a road,
It would probably
Here.
make sense to have it there.
yeah, have a tie-in,
Yeah,
which, like I said, that's all down the road, so now
Right.
it doesn't matter to me, because that's all,
but if we
in the future.
had something recorded there and then something along there,
yeah, standard width road or something,
yeah. Okay,
So
because that'd
maybe,
actually
future road. or
probably
something.
be better for this lot, because it would really function more as a corner lot, if this
Oh, yeah.
did, then the same thing here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, and then if you ever need to, if that ever does become a road that can tie the utilities together and loop them and everything else. that
Yeah.
you need to do, without coming after it, after the fact.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense.
okay.
As far
Well,
as future,
I think, do you have any questions on the other conditions on here?
I haven't even seen them.
Oh.
I was just made aware of this meeting like an hour ago, so.
Do you feel comfortable with this being approved? You want to look over those conditions and,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them we've probably discussed.
I mean, if you'd like, I can easily table it to another Wednesday.
Because
give you
there's
more
some of
time.
these recommendations from the way it was drawn up previously, some look like they were, because, I already got feed, no parking sign shall be installed along no climb fence. See, that doesn't pertain to this anymore.
the fence is
Fire
up.
hydrants, there's no road, the fire hydrants are there. One at the end of that stub road there and one where it comes out on 5,500. So a lot of these are notes from the first meeting I think we had with planning
Oh.
commission
Okay,
Mhm.
a year. So a lot of them don't pertain to the current design.
maybe we should table it.
Yeah, because I think these were just brought over for the
Yeah.
last minute and then just,
Yeah.
I don't want to put stuff on here, especially where you haven't reviewed it,
yeah.
and we just table it to another meeting. Because I don't want you to be caught off guard.
Yeah, a lot of this pertains to the stuff I've gone over on the other one. So.
Mhm.
And then they've added different things pertaining to the 3-lot subdivision, but some of it pertain to the 7-lot
Oh,
subdivision.
okay,
Like the no climb fence. I mean, those are all minutes, or those are all notes from the meeting we had with planning last fall
okay,
that have been brought over.
okay. Well, why don't,
So yeah, I don't, whatever makes it cleanest, and it might be cleaner if we.
yeah, I mean, I think I could approve it, but then I hate putting these conditions on there if they're not applicable.
Yeah, because like the no climb fence, the county wanted, when that road was gonna go next to your easement, that's there now, your access, they wanted a no climb fence. And we really didn't know why, but they wanted a no climb fence there. Oh, it's because my road was higher and they didn't want cars to drive off the edge of my road because it didn't meet the minimum slope. So we were gonna fence that whole road to keep cars on the road, so they don't pull off the edge trying to park.
Yeah,
And I mean, that doesn't, that kind of
Apply.
stuff doesn't apply, and that's why also the no parking signs. Because they were to keep people from driving off that edge.
okay, that makes sense. Well. Why don't I just, I'm gonna recommend that we table this item. To our, because I don't want you to have to wait.
Yeah, see, this is the only one that I really discussed with Tammy, because the flag stem will not be shown as an access, or we'll mark it as no access or something like that. Because yeah, we talked about the 30 feet. So,
What if we tabled this until the 29th, which would give you a couple weeks to kind of get with Tammy and work out these issues? Would that date work for you?
yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, so June, for the minute purposes, I'm gonna recommend that we table this item until March 29th for the applicant to work with Tammy on addressing some of these conditions that may not be applicable in regards to the no climb fence and the no parking sign along the south boundary line, and that we look at some type of future right-of-way discussion for a connection between 5350 west and what is that street out here?
It's
5,500.
5500 west.
Wait, between 5350 and 55?
Uh-huh. That more reflects what was discussed in the original access exception. And that's my motion. And I'll second it and approve it.
So much easier, we just pass things.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry to do that, but.
Oh, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, and these, now that I look back through them, these are the recommendations from planning meeting last fall.
So you're looking at
Yeah,
much more lots instead of 30.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And will that be 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if Felix, you don't mind getting with Tammy and having her get with the applicant so we can kind of talk about those things.
Of course,
But
yeah.
I think we possibly could have approved this, but I just didn't want to be approving anything that you're not. fully
Yeah, well, and that
comfortable
way
with.
it's cleaner, and because I would imagine a lot of these things can be just taken off
Yeah,
because they're not applicable anymore.
yeah,
It'll
Yeah.
simplify things. You get some good.
And then I'll talk to my engineer about, maybe putting in the notes of the plat or something that this will be
a future.
a future access,
Okay,
county desired or whatever, so
perfect. Okay,
we're good there and clear, so.
awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Live.